Yo, what is going on, guys? Episode 84 of many. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Colton Burt. I am the host of the Grizzly Life Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, please remember, share the show as much as you can. Get this message out there to everybody else. If you don't know who I am, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. That'll give you kind of an understanding, at least, of how I started, how we started, how we are where we are today, essentially, up until, about... I think we started recording about a year ago. It was February of 2025. So we're nearing that year mark. We're nearing episode 100. So again, if you haven't listened to all the episodes, if you haven't listened to episodes 1 through 4, they're audio only. They're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple as well. Go back and check those out. Listen to those. That'll give you a brief understanding of who I am and what we do. So I am 27 years old. We've got 7 gym locations. We've got Priority Fitness. That is a fitness equipment install moving company. We own, 5 or so pieces of real estate. We've got another really big deal in the works that I cannot tell you guys about yet, but in the coming weeks, I will be releasing that information as well. I think you guys will be pretty pumped to hear about that. So anyways, without further ado, today is Wednesday. You guys are going to hear this on Tuesday. So today's Wednesday, the big winter day. We just had like 6 inches of snow last night. The snow, rain, sleet, whatever, was coming down. So the ice and the snow, it's all kind of happening last night. So there's no school today. G and I came and got an early morning workout. We hit leg day today. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are our days that we run, and Saturday mornings. We're not running this morning just because we figured there wouldn't really be many roads like plowed or salted or anything like that. So we decided just to get up early, get a quick leg workout in, record this podcast for you guys, and then we're going to run maybe like for like a lunch or an evening run or something like that. So we'll figure that out. But just a friendly reminder, I'm recording these episodes early because we are going to Denver tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. Obviously, you guys are hearing this on Tuesday, so this is irrelevant to you, but we are going to the Bronco game. We're going to Denver. We're going to go watch the Bronco game. The Broncos and the Packers play, so most of you listening are probably Packers fans. I'm extremely excited to watch the Packers and the Broncos play out there. Luckily, the weather isn't actually going to be as cold as we thought. We booked these tickets back in June. And you never know what kind of weather you're going to get in Denver, in December. But it's showing that it's going to be like mid to high 40s, low 50s. I think the day we land, it's actually going to be like high 50s, low 60s. So really can't complain about the weather we're going to get in Denver at this time of year. So excited for that. Just a quick little trip. And the Broncos are playing well this year. The Packers are playing well this year. It's going to be a fun game to watch. So hopefully you guys all watch. And if you have me personally on any social media or my number personally, feel free to shoot me a text. You can talk a little bit of smack. You can, wish the Broncos good luck or whatever you guys want to do. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 84. I've got a couple things to go over. We're going to keep it short and sweet. We've got some meetings all day today. So the end is near of 2025. There's a couple things I want you guys to think about. So today's main topic is goal setting. I know I talk about this a lot. I've talked about this on a lot of different episodes. You need to have a plan and idea on where you're going. But before we dive into that, I do just want to say this because I like to think about it, and I'm a big gift guy. So Christmas is coming, and I don't think you guys realize like the importance of these little gifts and the sentimental gifts. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Obviously you've got your family, you've got your siblings or your spouse or your immediate family, right? And you kind of, some people like to go all out. Some people, we've all got $100 budget a person, whatever it is. I want you to think about like those people that you work with, like those coworkers, like the people that you wouldn't really think about getting a gift for. Those people that like they do impact your life significantly, even though it might not be in like your after, outside of work, your personal life. But those little sentimental things do go a long ways. And if you can think of one little thing that, you just shows that you were listening at one time or another, that relationship's just going to get that much stronger. So think about the gift of giving. Think about those coworkers, those interactions. Maybe you have to call on maybe you call on a certain customer for work. Maybe you call on a distributor, a manufacturer, right? Whatever. If you have a really good point of contact, somebody that you know from work at some capacity, if there's something special you can do for them, do it. I'm not saying send them like a $25 Quick Trip gift card, but if there's something sentimental that you can get them, maybe they said how they like this specific pen, this specific water bottle, this, whatever. Maybe there's just something one-off that maybe they're already getting it for good. But you know what I mean? Like if you can prove that you were listening at one point or another, that feeling that you listen and care will go a long way. So maybe it's too late this year, but something to think about in your work life as well. I'm not saying go all out and spend like you would on your family and your friends, but think about those people that do impact your life inside work and try to increase those relationships as well, right? Our goal is, I'm talking about the psychology and human interactions, and the little $20, $10, whatever gift can really go a long ways and really increase that relationship, and then also how that person treats you and takes care of you in the future. So I think it can really elevate your seat, at the table as well with that individual or with that company. So think about that. For me, I love doing gifts. I love getting as many people as I can gifts, whether it's my friends, my family. Sometimes I have to figure out where to draw the line. Sometimes I really do like giving to people, and sometimes it's hard for me to, I guess draw the line is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, today's episode, 2025 is nearing the end. 2026 is on the horizon. So we've only got a couple weeks left of December. It's going to be a busy time. We've got, Christmas is on a Thursday, New Year's is on a Thursday, which means most of you might have off the day before, the day after Christmas. So you're going to have a lot of time off these next couple weeks, potentially, depending on what you do. You should have some time with friends, with family, with yourself, whatever, to think about 2026. I don't want to be contradicting because, last episode I was talking about one day at a time. Yes, we do want to be happy one day at a time. But in order to accomplish great things, we do need to have large goals. We need to have goals that motivate us and goals that are achievable, attainable, right? The, in quotation, SMART goals, right? So I don't really follow the SMART guidelines. I've noticed from the power of like when I write something down, there's more power to it, even if I never look at it again. And so there's like science, the more, like if you write things down versus writing them in your phone, like if you physically grab a pen and paper and you write things down, you're more likely to remember them. And so I've heard stories where people will make a dream board, a vision board, or they'll write down their goal, their 5-year goal, right? And they might not even look at that sheet again. And all of a sudden they notice when they get to that like year 4.5, or whatever that vision board was, they might be like, oh my gosh, I totally got that car that I always wanted, and I totally forgot I made this back when I was 25. So the power of writing it down and creating a vision at some point, we do remember that kind of in the back of our minds as well, even if it's not constantly reminded. So I want you guys to think, what do we want to accomplish by year end? What is a habit that we can maybe start working on? What is a task that we haven't completed this year that we can maybe start working on? Is there a project? Did you say you wanted to do a vision board and haven't done it all year? Because that's something that I would push off too. I did mine in the beginning of this year. It's the first year I've ever done it. Maybe I'll do another one this coming year. But what is something that you guys, I'm talking to you as an individual right now. What is something that you continually push off? What is a habit that you don't love that you're doing? Like, what can we do with these last 2 or 3 weeks to really make a change and feel good about wrapping this year up? So I'm going to finish strong with my running. I do want to do one long run before the end of the year, or like to cap the year. So I do intend on running, that 8 to 10 mile run at the end of the year, which is something that I've never thought I'd say I was going to do, but that's my goal. That's like my one really hard thing that I want to do and achieve before the end of the year. This is the Grizzly Life Podcast. The goal of this is being the best version of yourself. This does not need to be just fitness related. Again, this can be finance related. This can be, I want to open up that Roth IRA account that I haven't opened up, and I've been saying I'm going to. This could be meeting with that financial advisor that you keep pushing it off. This could be scheduling the dentist appointment, the haircut, whatever those things are that we just keep saying we don't have time for. Let's get that on the books before the end of the year and just have a little bit of, I'm glad I got that done. So maybe a haircut isn't that extreme, but you know what I mean? Like, let's just find something that, hey, you know what? I'm glad I got that done before the new year. So, and let's do that so when we go into the new year, we're just even stronger. A lot of people wait for that turn of the turn of the year, the turn of the, again, the calendar going from 25 to 26 and so on. A lot of people wait for that night, that midnight, that next morning to feel so empowered and so ready to go and attack the world. And I get it. There is a power there. 2025 is now history, and we have a whole another year to make amazing things happen. And as we all know, that only lasts for so long. I do believe, and I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, that we can harness that power and really utilize it, but it's important to actually create the goal that's attainable and make sure it's something that we actually want to achieve. It's a goal that we want for ourselves, for our business, for our personal life, for our whatever, our family. It's important that we truly want it. And what I mean by that is, the most common one for me is like everybody wants to go to the gym and get a six-pack abs and the perfect looking arms, and they want like less neck fat or less arm fat, whatever. And they want to be perfect. But for some reason, that goal only comes about like on January 1st or like just the last day of December, right? In between Christmas and January, we all think, well, next year I'm going to be ripped. Next year I'm going to be in shape. And I don't know if you truly want that. Like, I don't know if those people who set those goals are really motivated to do that. I assume a lot of you listening here are generally involved in fitness. You guys you're listening every Tuesday and Thursday. I talk a lot about fitness, health, nutrition, finances, right? So I assume most of you listening have some kind of routine that you already follow. But for those people who set those unrealistic fitness goals, I think somewhere in their mind they do want to be in shape again, but they don't want it bad enough to really make the change. It's just that, again, that empowerment, that feeling that we get temporarily that overcomes them and then they fall off. So if you know anybody in your life that has those goals, it's important that you harness the power with them on January 1st, hold them accountable, come into the gym with them, make them feel comfortable, make sure they have a little routine, put them in touch with somebody who can help them get a routine. Maybe if you don't have the time, maybe you can buy them a gift and get them a couple personal training sessions or something like that to hone them in and again, harness that power and that motivation they do have. Maybe you can get them the new pair of gym shoes as a gift and really motivate them, right? Like, so the goal of this podcast is to be that person that brings us up to the next level. The people listening, I need you to help bring those other people up around you in your life as well. So it all starts with one person. It all starts with that one conversation, that one person willing to go the extra mile. So once that person has that little bit of feeling on January 1, that little bit of motivation that you can also continue along with them can really help these people make their goals long lasting and carry them out, see them through. So anyways, this isn't just about a fitness goal for January 1st. I want you guys listening to think about your current routines and how can we make them better? How can we improve them a little bit? If we look at each routine in our life, the main pillars that I always talk about are our fitness routine, which I like to break down into like my workout regime, my workout regimen, and my diet, right? Those are the two things that I like to talk about. Then there's your work life, there's your bank balance or your finance goals, right? There's probably like 5 or 6 pillars that like are important to think about and create some kind of goal for. A lot of the finance goals that I recommend for people would be like setting money aside or investing money somehow, or right, like that's our first and foremost goal when it comes to our finances is how do we not spend it just because it's in our account. So I want you to look at, I'm not going to say you should print off, if you want to go crazy, sure, print off your credit card statements for the last year and look at how much money you wasted and set a really good goal for the new year. It's not that hard if you have like Chase or Capital One, some of these smaller hometown banks are sometimes harder to like go online and really do some organization. But I know like if you've got like a Chase or a Capital One card or like specific credit cards, Amex, right? It's easy to go into those cards and search like Quick Trip and see how many times you went to Quick Trip this year. And it's easy to search BP or McDonald's or Culver's and see how much money did we really spend out. So if you wanted to take finances really seriously, you've got a couple weeks to do so. If you really want to understand the money that you've wasted over the year, I would recommend doing that. I would look at your credit card statements. I would look at your bank balances. Try to separate, obviously your necessary costs, which are like your fuel, your phone bill, your internet. And some of that stuff can be negotiated down or, brought down a little bit too. Not everybody needs the brand new phone. But when it comes to like eating out, I think that's where we spend the most money and we don't realize it. The convenience foods, the convenience stores. So I want you to think about that. If you want to take finances super seriously this year, or if you want to increase your financial, literacy and understanding of your, position, I would recommend printing off statements, bank accounts, just spending, an hour or two and just really diving into what did I spend my money on? And then you can really set a good goal on, I make X dollars a year, but I actually wasted like $5,000 or $2,000 or whatever on coffees and convenience food throughout the year. I'm going to try to save half of that this year, right? So instead of wasting $3,000, I'm going to save 1,500, right? Maybe that's a good logical goal. Maybe you're in a position at work where you can get a raise and you can save even more. But if you at least go off of what you're making now, that would be a good starting point for like finances, right? So that's where I start with my team. I like to sit down, review like 90 days of finances. But if you want to review the entire year, go for it to get a really good snapshot. And then you can set a really good 2026 goal when it comes to finances. I think that's a very strong way to go about it. So that's our finance pillar. I think that's the most important thing for a lot of people to get in check. A lot of people, especially my age, don't necessarily have a plan for retirement, don't necessarily have any investments going yet. They don't know what to do with their money, right? And it's tougher now with inflation and the cost of homes, and I get all of that. So it's important that we get our spending habits in check and then work on the rest of these things. So finances, it's important to think about. Let's set some good goals for 2026. Now, these are just overarching goals for the entire year. We're not breaking out every 90 days right now. We do that after we set our year-long goal. So if you currently have $0 in savings, maybe you want to have $5,000, $2,000, $1,000 by the end of the year. I do recommend like the app called Acorns. You can just have an automatic deposit set up there for the year of 2026 if you want. So you can do like a $10 deposit weekly into Acorns, and it's just money out of your pocket. You don't think about it there. That's $520 for the year of 2026 that you didn't even think about. So find that dollar amount. Maybe you can do $20 a week. That's again just over $1,000, right, for the year. Maybe you can do $25 a week, right? So use that as a game. And I think if you gamify things, it really helps. So Acorns is a really good self-investment app. It'll go into like kind of like a long-term savings. I kind of tell my team to use it as an emergency fund, but don't really utilize it. Don't touch it if you don't need to. Acorns will actually show your projections by the time you're 60, 65, 70 on how much money it can grow to. So building that Acorns account up, especially for you youngins out there, I think it's important. And then even for people of age that maybe don't want, if you're in your 50s and again, like that potential graph of investing into like something like Acorns. If you start when you're 20, it's obviously a much greater return than if you start when you're 50. But now if you're 50 and you've got some retirement stuff set up and maybe you just want like a little fun money account, Acorns is still an okay opportunity for that. Obviously, you can just utilize a savings account. Acorns will give you some growth from like the market, and it can go down, it can go up, right? But over time, it will increase. But maybe you want to use Acorns as like a fun money account, vacation account, where it will increase. If you do take all of the money out, all of the gains as well, you will have some tax, there on the gains. So something to keep in mind. But again, at least it's growing a little bit. I always recommend a money market account, which we've talked about plenty of times, or a high yield savings. High yield savings is what I would utilize for that. So anyways, finances, that's all I'm going to touch base on there. I want you to think about it. I want you guys to really think about your finances, get them in check, put yourself in a better position to win and to invest your money in something. Whether it's a piece of real estate, maybe it's a house for you, maybe it's a duplex so you can live in half and the other, I want to help people become more financially independent and navigate the world better and be able to accomplish more things. So if you want to have a conversation about finances, if you know somebody who you'd like to have have a conversation with regarding finances, I'm open to doing those kinds of things for people. I don't like to waste too much time either. So if there is a financial conversation we're going to have, I need you to come ready with all of your finances together, create a spreadsheet, show me your exact costs, like show me as much as you're willing to, but I want to see that stuff beforehand. So when we do sit down and have a meeting, I can give you my input right away and we can dive right into it instead of like wasting an hour trying to organize it together. So anyways, finances, let's create some 2026 finance goals. As the year gets closer to the end, I'll see what kind of goals I come up with for all of these things we're going to talk about real quick, and I'll see what I can give you guys for my 2026 goals. So fitness, we've got our general fitness goals, right? This can be strength related. This can be you want to do 10 pull-ups in a row. I want to be able to do 8 pull-up. I want to get to 20 push-ups. I want to bench press X amount of weight. I want to squat. I do find that having goals like that are important to stay motivated to work out. It's something that I personally don't always do a good job of, like those goals for myself. I do like working out. I do like the pump feeling. I do like the blood flow. I do like the dopamine and serotonin release I get from lifting. I like the sense of I broke muscle down and now I'm going to build it back up. And I like the feeling of now that I worked out, I can go eat some food, right? So I'm generally motivated to work out. But for the average person or for the normal person, I do think having something to chase is important, not just I want a six pack. I want my arms to be bigger. So think about that. What is that fitness goal that you want to chase? Even if you don't go to the gym, if you're listening and you don't go to the gym, maybe you want to start doing 10 air squats a day. Maybe you want to see some extra little leg definition. If you don't work out at all, maybe you want to start doing like 10 push-ups when you wake up in the morning, or 5 push-ups. Maybe you want to do knee push-ups. Maybe you want to, again, do some air squats and maybe some crunches and just work on like personal fitness. Like these little muscles, you don't have to go from zero working out to going to the gym and being a power lifter by any means. Just little changes, like, again, maybe 20 air squats a day or 10 push-ups a day, you're going to notice a difference. And so that, again, will compound and be a really good starting spot for you. So if you're listening and you don't lift currently, maybe you're a runner, maybe you're not into fitness at the time, think about that. What little at-home routine can you do before you get out of bed? Maybe you can do some leg raises, some flutter kicks, whatever. Work your core a little bit. So fitness. Find something to chase, create a little goal, create that number. I want you guys to think about what do you want to accomplish in the gym with your workout routine. For me, my focus is going to be continue working out and then obviously incorporate running. We've talked about potentially doing a half marathon in the spring, so that will be the main thing that I am training for and chasing. I'm currently in my current workouts, my running and my lifting routine. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, one, make my knees feel really good. My knees, like basically my running muscles in my legs, I want to make sure that like I'm bulletproofing them. I'm setting them up for success long term. And so like my leg day workouts now are a little bit more like high rep, lighter weight, trying to, again, strengthen those little tendons and ligaments and muscles and just making them work better for long distance running at this time. And so the next 3 to 6 weeks, that's going to be my continued focus, is hitting legs 1 day a week, strengthening those things. Running 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday right now, and then strength training in general 5 days a week, optional 6 day if I want to, which would be Saturday. So that is my current workout regime, and I'm assuming I'm going to carry that right into the new year. I will update you guys closer to the new year on what my if I have specific workout goals. I might create like maybe like a mile time for running or something, so I have something kind of like to just know where I'm at and where I can head, but my goal isn't to be the fastest runner. My goal is just time under tension when it comes to running. I want to have my heart working out as much as I can and keep it under stress so that way it improves my VO2 max, which I've talked to you guys about. So diet. Diet's another important one. What does your current diet look like? I don't love to coach on massive changes when it comes to your diet, but I think it's important for you to understand your body, to be able to learn, study, understand your own body is the most important thing. So what I mean by that is cutting out one specific food group might not be a bad idea. Now, when it comes to me and I tell you that I like to eat primarily meat and eggs, I've cut out all other food groups for the most part. What that did was it allowed me to understand my body, reduce inflammation, reduce body fat, right? Like carnivores, an extreme diet. But what I'm saying by like eliminating a food group to see how your body feels, like maybe try, if you're a big fruit person, but you also feel like your joints hurt or your back hurts all the time, maybe try like no fruit for the month of January and just stick to like a high protein, high fat, and carbohydrate diet, like your pastas and stuff, and maybe you eliminate like fruits and you get rid of those, whatever that would be, your simple sugars, I believe, right? I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian, and I haven't studied nutrition in a while, but I do dabble in it. So, and I can definitely bring more nutrition to the table for you guys, but maybe eliminating fruits and seeing how your body feels is a good idea. Maybe, again, the other way around, maybe you don't eat that many fruits, but you eat a lot of veggies, and again, maybe your body aches and feels this way or that way. I would maybe try reducing your vegetable intake and just keeping your diet kind of the same then. Again, I'm going to say keeping your protein and your fat levels high are very important. I think your body functions very well off of the fat. I think your body functions very well off the protein. And I think a lot of us maybe have too high of diets in carbohydrates. I think a lot of us might have, again, too much convenience food and junk food in us. So I obviously would always recommend cutting those things out first before cutting out actual whole foods like your fruits, veggies, and your meat and eggs. But maybe that's the play this year for our diet. So first and foremost, eliminate the junk food, eliminate the convenience food. I think those are your first two best options for when it comes to your diet. Obviously, I don't know what you do specifically, so think about what you do on your day-to-day diet stuff. But I'm telling you, if you have specific issues in your body, knee pain, but it hasn't always been there, back pain, you feel puffy, you feel, again, inflamed, taking ibuprofen all the time is not a long-term, that's not a good plan of attack. A human-made, man-made, anti-inflammatory, I try to stay off that stuff. So I personally don't take any man-made drugs like that, many man-made whatever you want to call them, NSAIDs, whatever they're, NSAIDs, whatever they're called. That's the Tylenol, ibuprofen, Advil. I don't take any of that. Everything's natural when it comes to me. There are natural alternatives to ibuprofen. And anyway, so think about what you're putting in your body. That's probably why your body doesn't feel the best. And let's make some diet goals this year. Again, nothing crazy. If you're setting 5 goals for your diet, 5 goals for your finances, 5 goals for your workout routine, that's not where we want to be. We do want to just kind of tweak these things. So by the end of 2026, I want to be down 10 pounds and I want to be feeling better. And, right? I want you to think about holistic, big picture. What direction do I want to head? And if I could accomplish this one thing for my finances, if I could accomplish this one thing with my workout routine, this one thing with my diet, this one thing at business and life, right? This one thing with my spouse, that one thing is going to be the big domino that makes your life that much better. So I'm not trying to complicate it and give you all these pillars. There's oftentimes 1 or 2 things that if we can accomplish it, it's going to make that year, that life that much better. So I'm not going to blab too much more on goal setting. I just want you guys to think, what is that one thing that if it would change the way your life was if you did it? And I also want you guys to think about vacations, time off, the things that you guys want to go out and do. I think we get wrapped up too much in our day-to-day, which, don't get me wrong, we need to work hard and we need to make the money and we need to make the business work. But if you don't plan that trip up north to the cabin, like I never do, if you don't plan that family vacation, it's going to be very hard to plan it a week before you want to do it. It's going to be very hard to ask your boss, say, in 2 weeks, would you mind if I finally did this thing? You need to look at your 2026 calendar. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there's what's called the Big Ass Calendar. Jesse Itzler is a genius when it comes to business. He makes some really good stuff. If you ever can listen to his, I don't know if he does any podcasts, but Jesse Itzler is a genius. He created what's called the Big Ass Calendar. This isn't why he's a genius. He's got a lot of other inventions and things he's done, but he's a very smart dude. He created the Big Ass Calendar, so I'm sure you guys have seen ads for it somewhere, but it's basically just all 12 months on a massive calendar. So you can pre-plan your vacation time, your kids' sporting events, your, the kids' plays you got to go to, family time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, right? The holidays. You can look at your entire year. It's like a big whiteboard, right? Or a big calendar. It's I don't know, 4 by 6 or something, 3 by 5, 3 feet by 5 feet or something, right? It's big. I really don't know what size it is, but it's a big calendar. You can go on there and write exactly what's going on these days. You can draw lines through your holidays, your vacations, and you can really see a good snapshot of what's happening for the year. I think that's a good, powerful tool for a lot of us. So maybe consider doing that. Not that you couldn't just draw out your own big calendar or actually print off each month or buy your own calendar and write down what you want to see, but the Big Ass Calendar, seeing it all in one page, one big whiteboard looking thing, you can just see the entire year and actually make some plans. And he always coaches on, if you could change one thing about your life, again, if you're a nicotine person, and if you were to quit nicotine and that would extend your life or that would make your life better or less dependent, or you'd save a shit ton of money because you're not going to buy the nicotine from the gas station, your cigarettes, your nicotine pouches, right? How much money would you save from that? That's a big money savings. You can put that in your finances. Maybe you want to quit caffeine because it affects your sleep, whatever. If you could change one major habit, that's what he coaches. Let's change one bad habit this year. And if you do that, it was a damn good year. And if you can do that for the next 60, 70 years, 80 years, 20 years, depending on how much time you've got, that life of yours is going to be that much better, right? So that's his coaching habit when it comes to goal setting. Let's just change one habit and let's make that our goal for the year of 2026. So I like to say, think about your finances, think about your workout routine, think about your diet, right? Think about your personal life, your spouse, your business, your revenue goals. But I really want you to focus on you first. So 2026 should be about you. 2026 should be about the time you invest in yourself, the education you give yourself, the books you want to read, the webinars you want to attend, the seminars you want to attend, the people you want to meet, the places you want to see, the time off that you need for your friends and family, right? That's like the first and foremost goal. But it really is about you, your routine, your health, your fitness. And so I coach in here on this pod. You need to be 1% better each and every day. You need to slowly compound and become the best version of yourself. And that's what we strive to do here, is become the best version of ourselves. It's never attainable. We're always going to be chasing perfection. That's what us as humans do. We want to become better and better and better. You're never going to be at the top of the mountain. But if you continually strive to be the best version of yourself, you're constantly pushing yourself, doing the hard things. I think that's the direction we need to go for 2026. So hopefully you guys take something away from this. If you want to message me, add me on Snapchat, colton.burt, Instagram, coltonburt19. Find me on Facebook. Shoot me a direct message, Snapchat. If you got me on cell, shoot me a text. If you want to email in, Garrett, Garrett, at fitnessgrizzly.com. We do have our weekly emails going out every Tuesday and Thursday. I actually just got a bunch of our emails done for the next couple weeks, so we will have those out on time. I'm really excited about those. The next 3 weeks, I really dive into our sleep routine and our breathing and how those two they work together but also independently and how important they are. So again, I'm just trying to provide as much value as I can to you guys. I'm trying to give you as much education. If you are interested in hopping in on those emails, again, shoot Garrett an email. If you see me in the gym, if you see any of our gym staff in the gym, not everybody in the gym staff, there is a slight disconnect. So for those of you listening, if you're going to our gyms, sometimes there's things that I might say on here before I even get a chance to talk about to my staff. So just a fair warning, if you go up to the front desk staff and say, hey, I want to be on Colton's emails, they might not have any idea what you're talking about, but just tell them, please tell Colton about the emails I'm in. Here's my name. Just do that. They'll get the message to me. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Happy Tuesday for you guys. Thursday's coming up here. I'll be on another episode with you guys that will probably recap the Denver Bronco game and the Packer game and our trip out in Denver. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. I will see you soon. Have a good week. Happy Tuesday.